everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Laura and I'm so happy to have you join me. And if you're new here, consider giving me the thumbs up as it really helps my channel, but also by subscribing, leaving me your comments, and make sure to turn on your notifications so you know when we have new content to share with you. And just so you know, we have added many of our projects to our website, so I'll leave the link for our website in the description below. So for now, let's get started as I show you how to make one of these really beautiful Zodiac sun catchers. The materials we're using today for our Zodiac or astrological sign project is some scrap copper I've got here, and this is pretty heavy duty. This is, I'm thinking, probably a 12 gauge, so it takes a little bit of muscle if you're trying to do too much with this stuff, so you don't want to overwork it because of course it hardens. And these are recycled, and as everybody knows, I really like to recycle as much as possible in all of my artwork. I've got a bottle of paint here to use to make the circle of our project, and then just a variety of pliers. Some of these we may or may not use, but it's good to have a variety. So this zodiac sign here represents Leo, and it's pretty basic, it's pretty straightforward design. And today we are going to make the symbol for Aries, which is pretty straightforward. It looks like a ram's head. So without further ado, we're going to take our largest piece of wire, and we're just going to try and form as round of a circle as we can with this. And it's always good to have a pretty good overlap, because that is what's going to make our hangers for us. See how that is? That's not too bad. Got a little bit of a warble in here, but we can play with that and straighten it out a bit. Like I said, this really takes a lot of elbow grease, so it's not too bad. Alright, and we're not going to worry too much about this part on this end, because now at this point we're just going to bend these around to make our hangers. So I'm using chain nose pliers, and these ones do have teeth, and normally when we're working with something as super soft as what copper is, soft being the operative word, then I generally say don't use anything with teeth because it scars up the wire, and instead use some of our jewelry pliers. But this stuff, we really need to be able to get a good grip on it to bend it. Alright, and it doesn't matter which side that you start with. This one's a little bit straighter, it's in a little bit better shape, so I'm just grabbing it by the end. Straighten it out a little bit. Oh, it's giving us a nice little loop there. Okay, and then we need to decide, rounding this out some more, we need to decide how much of this back stuff we're going to use. I'm not a real big fan of this this little hook here, so we are going to make it work. I want to cut that off. Oh boy, that is hard. Mucking around with that. Let me just give it a good twist, like that. right, that's a pretty good start to that. So it's still a little bit wonky in this area here, but I'm actually, overall, I'm quite happy with how that came out. Okay, so we take an additional length of scrap wire, and I think for this one, I think I'm going to measure it so that I can find the center, just because I think we're only going to have one go at this. So I'm going to grab a Sharpie. That's what I'm going to do. And then we're looking at about 6.5. So we're looking at about 3 3.25. It's about our center point. So marking that. And boy, this is heavy. This is heavy wire. So I'm hoping this will work. And I'm going to bring in some blunt nose pliers. Like I said at the onset, I knew we would need a variety of them. I just wasn't really sure. So have lots on hand if you can. Okay, so we're just lining up that edge of the pliers, and these are really good. They got some really good, some heft to them. And then we're putting our pliers on there, and we're going to bend this down sharply. So we're looking for this deep V. So then we're going to continue to bend it. And bend it some more. Press those flat, as flat as you can. Squeezing. And it's not actually that bad. But I can see that I've got some real twisting in my wire here. And by that I mean like literally twisting of the wire. And sometimes you just have to take what you get when you're dealing with recycled materials. But there you go, we have our V. So I'm quite pleased with how that is shaping up. Okay, so now the trick is going to be to bend these where they are going to fit inside of our circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a ring mandrel, and I'm just going to kind of bend those wires around that mandrel. Now I can already tell you this is going to be too deep of a V, but it does kind of start to give us our basic shape, our basic curve. In that immediate area. Okay, we'll have to straighten that out, but I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, maybe with a little bit less of a extreme bend to it, just to kind of try and get a nice bend on that. And that's more like what we're going for. So wish me luck. I'm hoping that I'll be able to straighten this out a bit. Okay, not bad actually. So we're going to pull those up a little bit more. Okay. All right. Introducing our Sharpie again. I'm just going to mark on here where our ram's head actually touches the frame. I guess we can call it. I'm going to try and get a bend. Okay, cool, not bad. Same thing with this. So you have to remember, if you use a lighter weight copper or lighter gauge copper, it's not going to be as tough as what this is. But once again, I had it kicking around, right? And I thought I would use it up, and wow, I'm actually rather impressed. That's looking pretty darn good. All right, now I can see that even though we measured and we bent, I can still see that there's a little bit of length difference on this one, so I want to try and even that out a bit. And I think it's probably going to have to come off about, I'm going to say probably about that much or so. So going in with our heavy duty snips again. And always, always hang on to the ends of your wire, guys. Okay, that's looking pretty darn good. Okay, so I'm liking the way that that looks. This one here is going to have to come down just a bit in this corner. And we'll do the same thing with this one. And that fits inside of there pretty good, actually. Okay, so we're going to give just a little bit more of a curl. It's a ram's head after all. A bit of a curl there. A little bit of a curl here. And I'll do just a titch more on this side. We want it to fit inside of our circle, and it's looking like I might have to tweak it a bit more as we're mounting it in the hoop, but we will see. Okay, so before we start to wire it all together, I'm going to take this to my anvil. So as you can see, I went in and I flattened the ends of our ram's head, and I quite like it. And I went in and I did exactly the same thing to the curled areas at the top of our copper piece here. So just another little design element that is quite lovely, actually. So introducing our 24 gauge wire, copper wire, we're just going to pull off a nice long length of this, snipping it off. I'm going to fold it in half, just lightly. And it's going to be way too much wire, but once again, better too much than not enough. So we pop that wire in between our ram's horns, and we're just going to give it one wrap, and that's just going to hold it in place. All right, so now this we have to shoot for the center fairly accurately right out of the gate, and I can see that guy's a little bit rounded. We're going to just force him down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to say that that is about our center point. And of course, you don't have to be exact, just as close as you can eyeball it. And then we're going to just start to wrap this. Now we're going to start on one side. And we do want to make sure that our center piece is parallel to our frame piece here, meaning we don't want it to sit behind or above the wire. We want it to be flush with the wire of our frame. And That way we're just not losing any of our ram, right? So you can see in this one too is the same thing, right? It's kind of butted right up against this copper piece. And then we just quite simply start to wrap. Now you may choose to do some fancier patterns, as with much of my wire work. I don't consider myself a wire wrap artist, because there are some amazing jewelry artists out there, and you know, that use all these very intricate wire wraps, these patterns, and I really am quite in awe of their abilities, but I just don't have the patience, at least at this point in my life, working with wire. But who knows? I mean, I guess it's like anything. If I tried it and I practiced it more, I would become more adept at it, and maybe enjoy it more than what I do. But at this stage of the game, I just don't. So this straightforward wrap is suitable for all of my needs as far as the wire work goes. So okay, so as you can see, I've reached where the ram's horns have met our framework here. So I'm just going to pick it up. Once again, we want to keep it butted up against that framework rather than laying underneath it or on top of it. And we're just going to give it, I'm going to go with 3 solid wraps, like so, and then bring it around it being the wire that we're wrapping with, and just give it a couple more wraps. Okay, and then we're just going to leave it like that. Move to the other side. And I was trying to squeeze this together and I kind of mucked it up a little bit, so I'm going to backtrack just a titch here and just straighten that out a little bit. There we go. And by that I just mean a little bit more evenly spaced wraps is what I'm looking for here. Alright, same thing, we're coming to that junction, and I actually think I'll do one more wrap here. Have come to that junction where our ram's horn has met our framework. We're going to give it 3 wraps, just like we have on this other side. Okay, very nice. Come up around the other side. And then just continue to wrap to this point. Now this wire, this particular one, we're going to bring up around the top here, but before we do that, we want to finish this off, and we want to attach these 2 pieces together here. So I'll continue on with this one here. Get those nice neat wraps. Now these 2 Zodiac signs are some of the simpler ones for sure, but there are some really great examples of the other signs. Like Libra is a straight bar and then another bar with a little loop. That one should be relatively easy to make. Pisces has, you know, the two curved lines with one in front. I would think that that would be relatively easy to put together. So if anybody tries the other zodiac signs, send me photos, because I would really love to see what you come up with. And who knows, there's a chance that I might try them myself. Oh, and here I am just talking and talking and talking, and I missed where I needed to join these together. Oh dear. So, okay, if anybody tries the other signs, then send me a photo. I would really love to see what it is that you come up with. Okay, so I backtracked, and I want to join it together here. So, pushing these together, I'm going to give, I'm shooting for 3. I might do a few more than that, just so that those wraps can take the stress of the pieces being kind of pulling away from each other, which is just the nature of the piece, because we're joining 2 pieces of wire that are under stress. All right, that's looking beautiful. So now I'm going to continue to wrap around this little hook. And I guess if you wanted to, you could always actually wrap your zodiac sign as well, just to add a little bit extra flair to this. And they're just fun. Like I said, a really great way to use up those spare bits of wire that you have, and copper can be quite expensive, so it's a good idea. It's awesome if you can use up those scrap pieces. Okay, we're nearing the end here, this particular part of it. Oof, and our wire's getting a little gnarly. And by that I mean starting to kink up a little bit, which it does once it's been under stress, and once it gets to a certain point, it could snap off on us. So I think we're going to just quit while we're ahead of the game. Press that down. We've got no pokey bits. All right, and then we're going to continue on with this one here. And we're just gonna, well, no, I don't like the way that looks. I was gonna say we'll just come around behind, and what we'll do is we'll just add a couple more wraps. We'll just overlap the ones that we did previously, and then we'll continue on. And actually that's really a great junction. It's nice and substantial. And then just zip through this here, finish it off. Right. Make this just a little more manageable towards the end here. Okay. And there you go. There are our really lovely zodiac or astrological sign sun catchers. And as I said, these look really sweet in a window or hanging from a rear view mirror. You do have your options for sure. So thanks so much for popping by and joining me, and I really appreciate it. This was a really fun project to make. And while you're here, don't forget to give me the thumbs up. It really helps my channel. Subscribe, comment, and click the bell so you get the channel notifications when we come up with new projects. All right, so for now, thanks again for popping by. I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.